Hey guys, thanks for viewing my tutorial on how to use baking soda as a filler, kind of like acrylic, and I thought I'd give it a try. So I'm going to add some tips first because my nails are quite short right now and I was just giving them a bit of a break, so I'm going to add those. And here, just to show you, I thought I'd give this a quick review too, is a fiberglass nail kit. I've seen a fair bit of this on YouTube and watching some tutorials. It's been popping up on Facebook and Instagram, so I thought I'd give it a go. It might be really good for repairing nails, and I thought, well, why not give it a go and see if it's okay to use over tips to see if it will hold, or even over the natural nail. But this is how it comes. It was just a fiberglass sheet there, or fibers. It's got a bit of a thick texture to it, so I'll put that aside. But you also get a fiberglass binder, which is supposed to set the fiberglass on the nail. So I'm going to give that a go and see how it works. So now I'm going to put on some nail tips. My hands have already been pre-prepped for this because I just did a previous video on how to prep your nails. But basically just give them a light buff with a fine grit buffer, just to take off the shine off your natural nail. You don't want to file too much into your nail, just literally take off the shine. Then you want to size up the nail tips, and you want to make sure that they are sized as perfectly as you can get them. So you don't want them to be too small at all. You would rather have them too big and then just file them to fit, rather than too small. And then just put them aside in the order, obviously, of which hand you're going to use them for. Just go ahead and do each nail. Now I'm not going to put any tips on my thumbs today because there is enough length on there at the moment. I'm just going to put the product on the natural nail to keep it strong and prevent it from breaking. So now I'm going to apply the nail glue to the tips and show you how to put some tips on. Just a little bit of glue in the nail well. Most tips will have a little well, some won't, but these ones do. So just a little bit of glue. Start from the edge of where the well, push it right up to the end of the well there, and kind of then just tilt it down onto the nail. You want to make sure you don't get any air bubbles. Wipe off the excess glue so it doesn't stick to the skin. If you did have an accident, it did get stuck to the skin, don't worry too much, acetone will get that off. But yeah, the air bubbles is kind of important because the nails will tend to lift and you probably won't have them on for too long if you get a lot of air bubbles in there. But it's not too hard not to get air bubbles. You just make sure you don't put too little glue. You've got to have enough to adhere to the whole nail bed, and not too much because you don't want it to spill over and get everywhere and all over the skin. So just hold it in place just for a couple of seconds. If you've got a good nail glue, it shouldn't take more than a couple of seconds to stick. Hold it down, just make sure all those air bubbles are out. And if you do get a little bit of excess nail glue on the nail, just dab it on the paper towel like I've just done there. That'll just save you that mess of it getting all over your nail. Hold it down, just like that. Now I've decided to put tips on because I like having a little bit of length on my nail, but they're actually quite weak. So I tend to get a lot of breakage in the side of the nail because my natural nails just aren't strong enough to bear too much length. So I thought I'd give this a go. And I've had artificial nails before in the past, and I really don't like using acrylic on my nails. So I decided I would give this baking soda and the fiberglass a go, because I've seen a lot of clips on YouTube and it's a natural product, and I figured, hey, this is really cheap, easy and quick. So I'm just gonna give it a go and see how it works and show you guys, just in case it's something you guys might want to do yourself at home. And there we are. I'm definitely not keeping them that long, although they are pretty. So now just grab yourself some scissors. These scissors weren't ideal, but they've got a curve in them, so they do cut the nail in a curve, which is good. So as you can see, I'm not making them too long. I'm actually going to cut them a little bit shorter than that too. Just be careful not to also try and cut like right across too quickly, or you might split the nail right up the middle. So just cut gradually through the nail from one end to the other. These scissors weren't overly sharp, but they did the job. Sometimes you just got to work with what you've got. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the other hand. I just cut the nail short so that it would be easier to work with short nails, putting the other nails on. So then you want to grab a file. So this one is, I think 180 grit. So it's a kind of a medium coarse file. So then I'm going to just keep the nail file straight in alignment with the line of your finger, so that you're not, unless of course, depending on the shape that you want of your nails. If you want the real almond shape, obviously you'll file inwards, but I'm giving kind of oval shape. So just shape and file your nails to your desired shape and length. And I'll fast forward this bit for you and we'll go to the next step. Okay, now that I have shaped all my nails, I am going to grab that same file and I'm just going to blend in the edge of the tip, just to sort of, you don't want to go filing into your own natural nail, like that's really important. That's quite a rough file, so you just want to take off the rough edge. So stay on the nail, on the plastic bit of the tip if you can, and just kind of edge it down towards the end. You need to take the shine off the tip, as well as just blend that edge in slightly. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be fully blended, just gently taking off that edge. Any rough bits. I'll just go ahead and do this to all the nails and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so here we are. I have blended all the nails as much as I'm going to. Basically they just feel kind of smooth when you run your finger over it, so there's not real noticeable edge. And now I'm going to try the fiberglass first. So I'm going to try it on my natural nail. So you just want to cut it to size. I'm just kind of having a look there to see how I'm going to do it. This is the first time I've used the fiberglass sheet. I guess it's similar principle to my other video where I use a tea bag to repair a nail. It's kind of a similar texture to it as well. So I'm just cutting out a piece that I want to kind of put it over almost the entire nail. It's basically just to reinforce the strength. So it doesn't have to go right near to the edge of the cuticle or anything, but you want to kind of make sure that you've got, especially at the sides of your nail, where they might bend and put pressure on your nail. So you want to create more strength there so they stop splitting at the sides and give you that extra strength. Looks about right. Just going to cut a little bit more off. I'm going to place it about 3/4 of the way up on the nail. Okay, well, it's not sticky at all, so I was finding it hard to, it wouldn't stay on the nail while I was trying to open the bottle. Sometimes they come and they're a little bit adhesive, but these ones aren't, so just going to try and hold it there. Which is going to be fun, trying to open the bottle. Here we go. Now that's quite thick. So, alright, so what's supposed to happen is I'm supposed to paint this on top of the fiberglass, and it's supposed to kind of dissolve in and adhere it to my nail. But I might turn it over because it's not sticking at all. So I'm just going to turn it over on the wet side. See if that makes any difference, which it hasn't. Still kind of lifting. It's really sticky too. So I don't know if maybe I'm doing it wrong because it doesn't come with any instructions. So I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds, just hold it down and see if it kind of sticks at all. Which it's not. There's no instructions on the bottle. I'm going to give it a little bit more, see if it... No, it's really gluggy and sticky, and I just can't see how this works at all. So I'm not... Either I'm doing it completely wrong or this just doesn't work at all. So I'm not saying any of the fibre kits that you buy, fiberglass kits, are no good, but this one definitely not working unless I'm doing something drastically wrong. Feel free to tell me if you have used one of these and you're watching this video. Let me know what I did wrong so I can give it another go. Otherwise, I probably won't try this again. So that's a fail in my eyes. So I guess I won't be using the fiberglass after all. So now I'm going to try and take this sticky residue off. So I'm just going to grab the acetone and a lint-free wipe, and hopefully it comes straight off. Yeah, which it does, so that's good. So that just wipes straight off. So let's start again. Now I will give this bicarb a go. And I'm going to use the Sistaco base coat and top coat to seal it. A lot of people on YouTube use glue, but I really don't want it to be really hard like acrylic. I just want it to be able to be easy to take off. So I'm going to pour some of this bicarb into a snap lock bag. Kind of flatten it down a bit. There's a couple of different ways you can do it, but this was one of the ways that I saw them do it on YouTube, and I thought that would probably be the easiest thing for me to try. Get my little lamp ready to go. So I'm going to start by putting my Sistaco base coat. It's the first time I've ever done this, so let's just see how we go. So it's going to kind of be a review and a tutorial at the same time, if it works. Okay, just a light coat of the base coat. I'm going to do one nail to start with, just to see how it goes before I bother doing the whole lot. So bear with me. I'll pop that in the light for 60 seconds. Which that was 60 seconds, but I sped it up for your benefit, so you don't have to sit there waiting for a whole minute. And then I am going to just dip my tacky finger, because the base coat's kind of tacky when it comes out of the lamp. So I'm just going to dip it into the bicarb, just gently. I'm not going to press too hard. Sort of dust the rest off with a little bit of a brush. Yeah, it feels a bit crystally. It's not really fine like powder, it's a bit crystally. Okay. Now I'm going to give it another coat of base coat. Trying not to get it on my skin, because I really don't want to have a big bulky nail at the end of it. Now guys, here's my first mistake, but I left it in the video because I want to show you what happens if you do this. So I just wiped off the excess off my skin. Now I put it into the baking soda without curing the nail this time. The first time I cured it, and this time I didn't. I thought I'll just dip it wet straight in and then I'll cure it and see what happens. So just looking at that, it felt fine. It felt like it was cured. I'm just giving it a little file now, just taking off the excess that's kind of makes it look a bit thick on the side. So I'm just thinning it out a little bit. You don't have to do this now if you can wait till the end, but because I'm just doing one nail to start with, I'm just shaping it a little bit. So that was 2 coats. Okay, well, it certainly feels strong and it feels like an acrylic nail. It's kind of smooth and yeah, I'm impressed. So I'm just going to give it a quick file and sort of even it all out a little bit. If I had a block buffer, that would be the perfect thing to use, but I don't have one, so I'm just going to grab my 4-way buffer that I've got and use the fine grit. Just going to go right over the entire nail and just smooth it all out, make it all even. And there you go. Looks pretty good. Feels definitely strong. It's probably not as strong as acrylic, but it's fairly strong. And you can see it's not overly thick, but my nails aren't too long either. So you'd probably need to, you know, have them a bit stronger if you wanted really, really long nails. So seeing as I'm impressed with the first one, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest. Thin coat of the base coat, and just probably I would recommend that you don't necessarily go right up to the tip of your cuticles whilst you're doing the bicarb dips, because it can kind of build up towards the top of your cuticle, and the last thing you want to be doing is really filing it down near the edge of your cuticle there. It gets a bit sore and too thick at the cuticles, and then you get a thick grow outline, and you don't want that. So this is my first dip. Give it a bit of a dust off. just going to go ahead and do the second coat of base coat. And then I'm going to do the second dip as well, and I'll come back after that. But don't forget to cure the nails before you put the dip, and then a layer of base coat, and then cure, and then dip. Otherwise, I'll show you what happens if you don't do that. So now I'm going to use the Sistaco top coat to seal everything. So I have done 2 coats of the bicarb. So remember to base coat first, seal it in the lamp or cure it, pop it into the powder, take it out, dust it off, put on another layer of base coat, cure it under the lamp, dip it into the powder, take it off, dust it off. Then I'm putting on the top coat. Then I'm going to seal that in the lamp. They're actually looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go and do my thumbs, and I'll come back after that. Okay, wow. They actually feel really good. They feel strong. They feel like acrylic, but not as heavy. They're pretty transparent, so they don't really show. Even where I've done the blending, you could pretty much wear them like that if you wanted to. But I'm going to go ahead and give this hand a third dip, just so that in a couple of weeks' time I can come back and review and show you and sort of see for myself which one I prefer. Either the thinner, sort of lighter, or the thicker, stronger. I'll just give a review to see how they've lasted and etc. But I won't make you sit through the third dip. I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, and here they are, all completed. 3 dips on the second hand, 2 dips on the first. Now they're not finished, although they look like they are, they're not. So I need to give them a smooth over. A block buffer would be excellent to use here, but I don't have one, as I said before, so I'm just going to use my fine grit buffer there. I'm just going to smooth over the nail, make sure that get rid of any little lumpy bits, or if there's any bits that look a bit uneven or thick, then you can just buff them down. Don't buff too much, otherwise you're basically buffing right through the product that you've just put on. So give them a light buff till they're nice and smooth. The trick is too, when you're going over the top of the nail, you don't want to just kind of rub straight up and down, across, because you then just flattening the surface of the nail. You kind of want to angle the brush a little bit so that you're going with the curve of the nail, and then that's going to sort of give you an even smooth curve and not just basically take off the product and flatten it. You don't want to do that. And lastly, I'm just getting a file and running it over the edges and just making sure that it's not too bulky, and just giving it its kind of final shaping. And I'll go ahead and do both hands, and then I will come back and show you the finished product. And here they are. I actually think they look quite good. Who would have thought? Baking soda, chemical free. I like the idea of that. But look at this. This is that nail that I was talking about earlier, that mistake. It hasn't set, it's sort of lifting, so I'm going to have to take that off and start again with that nail. So I'm going to take it off using some acetone, a cotton ball and some foil. So I'm going to soak the cotton ball in some acetone. I'm going to make it quite wet because I want it to really soak in there. And then I am going to place that cotton ball right on top of the nail, and then wrap it up in the foil quite snugly. Make sure that cotton ball stays on top of the nail, and wrap it up kind of firm. Give it a bit of a squeeze, make sure that it's good. Now I'm going to leave that on for 15 minutes. Now 15 minutes has occurred. Oh wow, look at that. That fake nail just came straight off, and I'm just going to use my little metal tool to scrape off any of the product, which has come off quite easy actually. It's kind of dissolved it and it's just got a little bit of product left there, which I'm going to just scrape away. Now I'm just going to pop that back on for a bit longer, and whilst I'm waiting for that, I think I might just go ahead and finish off my colour. I was going to do a French manicure, but I've decided I might put a colour on. But you can see there the finished product is not overly thick. And I could, if I wanted to, just give them a good buff and shine and just leave them as they are, and they still look pretty good. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and put my colour on. So I will come back at the end because I do have another video on how to apply the Sistaco colour. So you can go and watch that if you would like to. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, so I just want to come and take that acetone pocket back off and check on that nail. And that's all it really needed, just to get the rest of that off. So now I'm just going to start again, give it a bit of a light buff, put the nail tip back on and start the whole dipping process. I've sped that up so that you don't have to sit through it all again. But basically I will complete this hand and then come back and show you the finished product. The colour I'm using is called Flamingo, just in case you were wondering. It's an amazing, gorgeous, holographic colour, and it sparkles so much in the light, and I just love it. So just wanted to share that, and just in case you wanted to know what the colour was. Okay guys, here is the finished product. I'm actually really impressed. I think they look awesome. So baking soda, it actually works. I'm super impressed, and it's cheap and it's chemical free, and I give it a thumbs up. So together with the Sistaco product, we will see how long it lasts, and I will come back to review.